Good evening. The evening continues on. Please keep eating, enjoying your meals. What I would appreciate is a round of applause for the Warsaw culinary students in the Matt Anthony Lake City Catholic. As you know, this is also a business meeting for the Warsaw Kosciuszko County Chamber. We have a little bit of business to take care of. Please keep eating and enjoy your meal. I would like to introduce somebody you all know, John Warren, Tower Bank, President of Tower Bank, my good friend and our outgoing chairman of the board, for some comments and to take care of a little bit of business before we get to our keynote speaker. John? Thank you, Mark.
For the business portion of the evening, we're going to recognize our retiring board members. As I call your name, please stand. Chris Harrison, Tim Meyer, and Steve Miller. Can I have a round of applause for them? Our nominating committee has selected the following individuals to be considered for a board director position. As I call your name, please stand. Will Bourne, Gina Clevenger, Greg Cobb, and Rob Parker. I would honor a motion to approve them as directors. Thank you, Dennis. Second? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Board members who will serve their second 3-year term, please stand as I call your name. Catherine Haddad, Karen Meyer, Emerson Port, and Jane Ware. Do I have a motion to approve for consideration? Thank you. Second? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce our 2013 Executive Board, Dennis Hively, Jane Ware, Stephanie Slayer, and John Warren. Please stand. Thank you. Our remaining Board of Directors for 2013 are Emily Power, Kevin Deerdorf, Caleb Franks, Al Gross-Nichols Sr., Rick Curlin, and Monica Lyon. Dina Ann D. Ann Morosky, Jan Orban, Jim Stovey, and Joel Weber. I would also like to recognize our committee chairs who put hours of work into our different committees. Ruth Jones in our Education Committee, Gene Northerner, Governance Issues, Daryl Smith, Workforce Development, Jim Manning, Ambassadors, Monica Lyon, our YAP, and Green Works, Jim Fisher. Also, the individuals who devote time to our task force, your efforts are much appreciated. I'd like to call President Mark Dotson back to the podium to introduce our next speaker.
Thanks, John. It's an honor and privilege to serve with such a great board of directors. They hold me accountable. They drive hard to make sure we do the right things in the chamber, and I'm just privileged to know these people. And so I thank you for voting in our new members and renewing those board terms that needed a second term with the board of directors. I think you'll recall the past couple of years, I've always answered the question, why Warsaw? It was the question asked of me when I was interviewing for this job, a job I'm so honored and humbled to have. And one of those things that makes Warsaw unique is the person I'm going to ask to come to the podium. A very humble individual who has contributed so much to our community, and so many great things have happened because of Dr. Dave Miller that It's another one of those reasons why Warsaw is the world-class community that it is. And we'd like to ask Dane to please come forward and introduce our keynote speaker. We can have a round of applause for Dane.
Thank you. It's truly an honor to be here tonight. I don't have time for a joke, but I will point out that I'm the official time enforcer. The governor's had some distractions today that were out of his making, and so I'll see to it when I stand up and moon everybody in the audience. You can kind of figure it's all over. That wasn't funny. That's what I'm going to do if you aren't careful. Just a little bit about the governor before he steps forward. He's a lifelong Hoosier with legal, small business, and policy experience. He grew up in Columbus, Indiana, earned a degree from Indiana University School of Law. In 1991, he was named president of the Indiana Policy Review Foundation. And later launched a radio show in 1993 that was eventually syndicated statewide. He was first elected to Congress in 2000 and quickly established a record championing fiscal responsibility, smaller government, and economic growth, skills and values that brought him to state government service. The governor has been married to his wife Karen since 1985, and they have 3 children, Michael, Charlotte, and Audrey. Governor Pence ran on a commitment to make Indiana the state that works for all Hoosiers. And I'm confident that he will do that over the next over the next 8 years. That's how much confidence I have. Please join me in welcoming Indiana's 50th governor, Governor Mike Pence. One more thing before the governor says a few words. I was in Columbia City, Mary Louise and I were with him a few minutes ago. And the only mistake I've ever seen or heard from Governor Pence in all the years he served in various roles throughout government, he referred to coming to Warsaw. And I pointed out, this is not Warsaw. This is Winona Lake he's coming to.
And I stand corrected. How about a round of applause for Dane and Mary Louise Miller? This is a family that I deeply admire, and I am so grateful for their friendship and their leadership here in Winona Lake. So, have a round of applause for them. Mark Dobson, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction this evening. I will not go over time now that we know what could happen. I'm really honored to be here tonight and to be able to share the first year of the next great century of the Kosciuszko County Chamber of Commerce here in Winona Lake. Here's to another 100 more years of prosperity and opportunity for our families, for our kids and our grandkids. It's wonderful to be here today with several elected officials that I deeply admire and respect. We actually had the opportunity in the midst of a busy legislative week to be joined today on the plane flying up with 2 dynamic leaders. State Representative Dave Wilkins is with us. Dave is one of the most respected members of the Indiana General Assembly. Dave, if you want to stand, take a bow, and thank you for joining us tonight. And I can honestly say I was for Rebecca Kubacki before it was cool. One of the most dynamic leaders to hit state government in a very, very long time. And State Representative Rebecca Kubacki, thank you for being out here today. Thanks for being such a great champion for this community of our state. Mayor Joe Tallmer, who's here, Mayor Joe and I were both talking about having gone through transitions, and both of us had black hair before we went through our transitions, but give Mayor Joe a round of applause. He's doing such a great job. Former State Senator Ken Adams, Jason McSherry, who's a county clerk and been a great friend of ours for many years. Dr. Rob Manahan, the president of Grace College. I'm honored to be with each and every one of you, and to be with you tonight on this occasion is deeply meaningful to me. And to see this this size of a crowd is very humbling. I know that there's some mention of the fact that we had my wife had some health issues that delayed me here today, and I apologize for not having been able to make it into the reception. But mentioning my wife reminds me of a story that one of her favorite stories of a former governor of Indiana. Apparently, it was just more than a few years back, and the governor and the first lady apparently were sitting in the back of the vehicle, and they were going down the road. They pulled into a gas station to get some gas, and a gas station attendant came walking out to pump the gas. Now, for all of you who are under the age of 40, we'll explain what a gas station attendant is later. Away with vinyl records and payphones. But the gas station attendant, kind of covered with grease, as the story goes, came out, and as he was approaching the car, the first lady, looked out the window and literally just kind of jumped out of the car at the gas station. And as the governor looked on, first lady threw her arms around this gas station attendant. There's a kiss on the cheek, there's laughing, there's talking, there's gesturing, and another kiss on the cheek, another hug, and she climbs back into the car and begins to speed away. And she straightens her blouse with a warm, self-satisfied smile, and the governor looks at her and says, well, what was that all about? And she said, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you recognized Dave. That was Dave, who I dated for 4 years in high school. Dave, who I almost married. Dave, he asked me to marry him. The governor said, oh, Dave. She said, what do you mean by that? He said, well, I was just thinking, what if you'd have married Dave? First lady said, without missing a beat, if I married Dave, he'd be governor. That is Mrs. Pence's favorite joke, and people who know us well know why. But I bring you greetings from her. She is doing well, but I appreciate your patience with our schedule tonight. I want to share with you all just a couple of things that I had a chance to share with people at the General Assembly last night, and to share with people around the state a little bit on television. But it has to do with what I believe is this moment, what I like to call Indiana's moment, in which we find ourselves. I'm 53 years on this earth, and I've been a student of Indiana history and American history, and I have to tell you, I think this is a time in the history of our state, but thanks to the leadership and energy of men and women like those gathered in this room, like no other in the life of our state. I truly believe that if we will remain bold, if we will remain determined, if we will lean into the effort, we can take Indiana from good to great. Indiana can take our rightful place as the leading state in the Midwest, and we can become one of the fastest growing state economies in the United States of America within the next 5 years. I truly believe with all my heart. But it's going to take leadership and the right ideas. Unfortunately, our state has been blessed with leadership at the local level, and leadership at the state level that, to put a fine point on it, just gets it. Men and women who understand the opportunity that the Hoosier State has today. I want to speak to you about the ideas and the proposals that we're carrying forward that we think are going to be a part of how we can seize this moment in the life of our state and take our state from good to great.